How do we define what constitutes dangerous anthropogenic? I think the world has to come to grips with this. How do we prepare the human race to face sea level rise in a world with new geographical features, because that's what sea level rise of this extent implies. Is the current pace and pattern of development sustainable? We need to ask some fundamental questions. What changes in lifestyles, behavior patterns, and management practices are needed, and by when? And I would like to end by quoting from Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And I think, therefore, what we really need is a new ethic by which every human being realizes the importance of the challenge we are facing and starts taking action to meet it effectively through changes in lifestyle, through changes in attitude and behavior. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pachauri. I will ask you to raise your hand if you want to ask a question. If you could identify yourself, and please limit yourself to one question, and hopefully on the subject at hand. The gentleman here in the blue shirt. Go ahead. The roving mic will be brought to you right.
Jeffrey Lean of the Independent Sunday newspaper. There seems to be a disconnect with the urgency with which you sirs are now talking and the glacial slowness of the political process towards any kind of agreement that begins to meet the scale of the cuts in carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that are needed. Does that, my perception there, coincide with yours, and if so, what should be done about it?
I think you have asked for me. I think by this time the scientists have determined in one voice unequivocally the very quickening pace of global warming phenomenon. And as you said, I have witnessed myself with my own eyes while visiting Antarctica. While I was able to appreciate such a wonderful and very rare landscape, but I was very alarmed. It was very disturbing for me personally to see all this quickening and process of melting ice. I sent the message that this is an early warning on climate change. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary, as I have repeatedly said, and many people must have emphasized that and I'm again urging that now I need the political answers from the political leaders around the world.
Gentleman in the front row, if you could. Question two, thank you.
Yeah, Mike, can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
My name is Michael McCarthy from The Independent in London. I'd like to ask Dr. Pachauri if this final synthesis report sends a message specifically to President Bush, who took the biggest emitter of carbon dioxide out of the Kyoto Protocol in 2001, and if so, what is that message?
Well, as it happens, the IPCC hasn't designed the message for any particular individual. This is a scientific assessment which is really intended for the global community at large, and of course the members of the IPCC, which include all the governments of the world. And I suppose this is a message also for Kyoto. As a matter of fact, it was at our request that the the Bali Conference of the Parties was rescheduled by delaying it by 4 weeks. And I might mention the Executive Secretary of the UNFCCC Secretariat, Mr. Evo de Boer, is here among us. He's sitting over there. I also have several members of the co-writing team of this synthesis report who are present, and they can give you much greater detail. But essentially, we are assessing science in a totally objective and neutral manner. We are not making any policy prescriptions. It's not the work of the IPCC to do so. But what we have brought out, I believe, is an extremely policy-relevant document. If this does not provide the basis for those who are responsible for forming policies all over the world on a strong scientific basis, then I'm afraid I can't think of anything more appropriate or apt than what we have produced.
Thank you. Yes, the gentleman with the beard there.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Brilliant. Håvard Hamneberg of Point Carbon. I would like to ask the Secretary General to do some policy analysis for me. Given that this is a negotiated text and it seems to be sterner and stricter in its warnings, do you feel that the international political debate has matured and is moving towards an international agreement on cutting greenhouse gas emissions?
I think this report is a remarkable achievement. I am especially pleased by the summary document which was explained by Dr. Pachauri. The contents is very clear and concise. It should make it clear for its policymakers to understand and use this overwhelming scientific evidence to inform their decision-making process. Personally, again, I am very much amazed by the unified voice of the governments and scientists on this matter. I understand that there must have been some very active debate on these terms and characterizations of some of the elements of this report. But finally, all the scientists, they have been able to agree on very professional and scientific terms. And this is not a political report. This is a scientific